Kenny Lattimore and Judge Faith Jenkins' relationship has all the red flags. It looks like life has been good for both Kenny Lattimore and Judge Faith Jenkins. The two got married, and by the looks of it, they're ready to start a family of their own. Love does move in mysterious ways. Kenny and Faith are successful in their respective fields, so people were wondering why they were in such a hurry to get to the altar. Everybody adores them because they're passionate and sincere in all their endeavors. We just love seeing them excel in their own careers, but seeing them romantically involved with each other is sending off the wrong vibes. It's still too early to tell, but there are some red flags waving along the course of their relationship. Sit tight as we unravel the juicy details and unexpected twists and turns of Kenny Lattimore and Judge Faith Jenkins' love story. What better way to start than by taking a quick trip down memory lane? Let's go back to years before the world knew about them. Kenny Lattimore was born on April 10, 1970 in Washington, D.C. He was one of 7 children in a musically inclined and religious family. He grew up listening to songs by the best artists like Hathaway, Earth, Wind & Fire, and Chaka Khan. He took music classes in high school, and at the end of his first year in college, he joined an R&B group called Mannequin. He later left the group and launched a solo career. Upon hearing this, you would think that Kenny had a pretty normal childhood, which was good because at an early age, he knew that his path would be in music. However, in his episode in Unsung, he talked about an incident that had a deep impact on his life. At the tender age of 5, he was sexually abused by a male perpetrator. This was the reason he appeared shy throughout his adolescence. He learned to hate men, and whenever someone approached him, he panicked. He did not like people touching him, so he retreated to himself. He tried to hide this disgraceful and traumatic incident, but looking at his son, he knew that he had to talk about it to protect him somehow. But his perception of life changed when he personally experienced the divine grace of God. God spoke to him and told him to greet people he met with a hug. This simple act tested his faith, but it made him stronger. According to him, it began to break down some of the physical barriers I built in my life. However, this was not enough to make him feel okay. He could not just forget what had happened in his childhood and move on. It created a hollow space in his life that would never be filled in. For years, he felt undeserving of any love his future partners had for him. He was ashamed of his experience and afraid that they would not accept him, so he never told his partners about it. But later on, he knew that the only way out of this misery was to openly discuss it, no matter how painful it was. In 2001, Kenny met another R&B singer, Shantae Moore, who captivated him with her charm and talent. Just after 6 months of dating, they got married in January 1, 2002 in Jamaica. He did not only become Shantae's husband, but he also stepped in as a father to Shantae's daughter from a previous marriage. They made beautiful music together. The birth of their son, Kenny Jr. in 2003 revived the bad memories of Kenny when he was younger. He revealed in an interview with Essence magazine that his only worry is his son's safety. He was ready to move mountains to protect his innocence. But in 2011, Shantae announced that she had filed for divorce. She disclosed no other reasons than getting tired of having a man at home. Kenny put all the blame for the failure of his marriage on Shantae. He spoke candidly about his marriage on the Tom Joyner Morning Show. He believed that people would enter a relationship unaware of their true selves. People get into relationships and feel like they have things that they need and maybe they really don't, and maybe they haven't dealt with their issues and who they are. 2 years after their split, Shantae revealed on R&B Diva's Los Angeles reunion that Kenny asked her to get full custody of their son. The show's host, Wendy Williams, then raised an issue that no one felt comfortable talking about: Kenny's sexuality. She asked Shantae whether the reason for their divorce was because Kenny was gay. Clearly, Shantae did not know how to respond, but she did say that Kenny being gay was not why she asked for a divorce. But it was unclear to the public whether she agreed with Williams about the speculation about Kenny's sexuality. Kenny responded that the words Shantae used in the show were irresponsible and reckless. It not only harmed him, but it also harmed her son. It was a question that could easily be avoided. In another interview, Shantae was asked again about Kenny's sexuality, and this time she responded that before Kenny became her husband, she did not know what his story was. And now that they were not married anymore, it was much better that Kenny would be the one to answer such a question. We all thought that this would put an end to rumors about Kenny's private life, but the public got more curious about him. It was not easy to let go and not find out what was going on. Lil Mo shut down this rumor, saying that another person in the music business has been accused of being gay at one point in their career. Usher was rumored to be gay, as was Justin Bieber. She added that she had not seen Kenny with a man. Amidst all the dramas and controversies, Kenny was willing to take another shot at love. He was ready to be in a serious relationship again, and he would not commit the same mistake again of letting other people affect their marriage. He would only welcome people who would contribute positively to his marriage. Faith Jenkins was your typical woman in New York, finding her place in the city. She was looking for someone she could work with in her book, Sis Don't Settle. Her book was inspired because people would not stop asking her if she was still single. Because everyone was expecting her to have fun and be with a man, all her relationships were failures. She was always getting the wrong man, so she stopped dating herself to rethink everything. She came up with a plan to list 50 qualities and traits she wanted in her future boyfriend or husband. In order to succeed in her plan, she reminded herself to let go of someone who did not want to be in a relationship with her anymore. She also manifested that she would get married soon. 6 months later, she was having a conversation with a friend, Aaron Lindsay, who was a music producer. She asked him to recommend someone who could help her record Christmas music. He suggested Kenny and added that two of them could possibly hit it off. Aaron arranged a lunch meeting for Kenny and Faith to meet. When Faith first saw Kenny, she immediately noticed his beautiful smile. His clean and dignified look made him even more handsome. But Faith was not too keen on dating him, for she always thought that she would marry a lawyer one day. She also did not like the idea of being with a musician who was always out touring and was desired by many female fans. She admitted that there was no attraction between the two of them when they initially met. Kenny did not make any move because Faith has shown no interest in him at all. Faith was also in a bad place at the time because she didn't have a job and was not ready to be judged by a man she had just met. However, something in her changed after she talked with Kenny. She could tell he was a good person right away because he was humble, smart, and genuine. Whenever she was with him, there was an unexplainable feeling of calmness and peace. By their fourth date, Faith and Kenny had an inkling that this could be the relationship they have longed for. Kenny embodied every one of Faith's 50 qualities in a future partner. Well, except for the height, since Faith wanted a man over 6 feet tall, but she did not mind at all. Meanwhile, Kenny was trying to shut down all the rumors about his sexuality. Faith, on the other hand, was still dealing with people questioning her singleness, and when they became a couple, they set ground rules for their relationship and decided that they would eventually get married but had to set aside any forms of intimacy. This may raise eyebrows, but studies show that couples who delayed intimacy until marriage had higher relationship satisfaction and better communication patterns. Kenny and Faith did wait and got to know each other well, and because they were not blinded by lust, they knew that their love was true and pure. True to his words, Kenny only invited people who would be a good influence on their relationship. In her book, Faith disclosed that, in their relationship, there is a group of people whom they admire and turn to for advice. She called them their relationship board of directors. All the people in this group are in successful and loving marriages, like Aaron Lindsay and his wife, as well as Devin Franklin and Megan Good. Faith continued to discuss in her book how Devin has been an important person in her and Kenny's lives. They even asked him to officiate their wedding. Faith explained to Kenny that attending pre-engagement counseling could really help in their relationship, including discussing Kenny's past. And when Kenny agreed, Faith was even more sure that she had made the right decision to be with him. Kenny was ready to take the relationship to the next level, so when they were strolling in Central Park, Kenny proposed. And 11 months after claiming that her husband was on his way, Faith was engaged to the love of her life. She announced their engagement on her Instagram account and shared how Kenny was the man of her dreams and how thankful she was to Devon and Megan for their guidance and support. The book that Devon and Megan wrote together, entitled The Wait, became Kenny and Faith's Bible in their relationship. Just like Devon and Megan, they wanted to get married before becoming intimate with each other. The book emphasized the importance of waiting and its benefits to the relationship. Kenny and Faith got married on March 8, 2020, in front of 300 guests. With Devon leading the ceremony, everyone seemed to be celebrating with the couple except for Wendy Williams. She was still questioning Kenny's sexuality. Judge Faith Jenkins was appointed in August 2020 to be the presiding judge in a courtroom series called Divorce Court. She also started writing a book about relationships, but when the book was released in November 2021, not everyone was excited to read it. Oftentimes, celebrities who give relationship advice to people are the ones who are in bad, toxic marriages. People found it weird that Faith would write such a book when she had just been married for over a year. To put it bluntly, she was not considered an expert in love and relationships. While Faith was busy promoting her book, Kenny was also working on his 8th studio album. Faith, he said, was also the inspiration for his album. Fans couldn't help but wonder if Shantae was his inspiration also for his previous albums. Kenny and Faith made an extra effort to surround themselves with happy couples, but when the news of Devon and Megan's divorce broke, they were undoubtedly devastated and heartbroken. Judge Faith Jenkins walked out of divorce court. It is believed that the reason for her departure was that she would now work as a host and an executive producer for the new show on Oxygen Network, Killer Relationship with Faith Jenkins. Just this August, Kenny and Faith announced that they were expecting their first child together. Kenny and Faith's relationship might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it clearly showed how true love works. Their choice to wait until marriage before they became intimate may not be conventional, but it is their way of building a strong foundation in their relationship. Kenny's idea to only welcome couples who would serve as good examples for their marriage may not sit well with others, but it's their own way of protecting their relationship. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more scoops from Hollywood. Are you not entertained? If you are, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.